Hello, hello. Welcome to my sometime office in my local common. Yes, this is my first live, so you'll have to forgive me if I you have to forgive me if I'm a bit all over the place. So this is my local office. I don't know if I can turn the camera around to show you. I sometimes work from this park. I live in London, but I'm so lucky to be here, living so close to the woods. So anyway, I'm gonna just hope the tech is working, because this is not always my friend. And welcome. And what I'm gonna be doing is, it's a year. So on this Friday, it's a year since I published my book, Rosa's Choice, so Healing the Wounds of the Mother, a journey into the world of Spirit Baby and how we can build a new earth together. And I didn't do much, I didn't shout very loudly about it last year. I think mostly terror, just sharing your story, sharing your voice. And what I was showing the other day about sharing voice was what Spirit was showing me, because it's always been my thing, is, you know, being visible. Is always quite tricky. And what I was showing the other day, so anyone listening and, you know, knowing you have messages to share, you have a story to share, you have wisdom to share, just your voice. You might not even want to share it live, but just with yourself, owning your voice. And what they showed me was when we share our voice, it's like the earth is like a flower, and each of our voices is like a petal. So when we open our voice, when we own our voice, then the whole world just kind of opens up. It's like this real blooming of beautiful sound and vibration. So yes, a year on into Rosa's Choice, and so much has happened with me personally, and also anyone who's come across the book. You know, the book's been gently kind of floating out into the world, reaching those who are ready, reaching those who need it. So really this book is I'll just read the back. It's a fascinating behind the scenes picture of life before life. It reveals the choices made by spirit babies, why they choose not to come just yet, why they choose or aren't able to stay, why your journey to motherhood is part of your soul healing journey. This book also reveals how there is a wave of new souls here and waiting to arrive, who together with their parents and life guides are playing a much bigger role in building a new earth. This book is therefore not only for women on their journey to motherhood, but for all those whose role is to support them, their babies, and Mother Earth herself. So it's very much guided by, it's very much the perspective of the spirit babies, of course, lots of channeled messages in there, and how they see the world and how they see the decisions we make, the experiences that we have. You know, you're not alone. If you're on your journey to motherhood, you're not alone. Your babies are very, very much alongside you. They have their own choices, they have their own decisions, and the way that they view the world is just so healing, so supportive. And when we can change the perspective on our situation and what we're doing, we can change the perspective on, you know, with the situation just changes, we feel very differently. So this book has been really supporting and helping women come to terms with loss or their challenging journeys for motherhood, and also like opening up insight into what is going on in the world. So creation itself, life and creation itself. So my thought for this week was to do a daily video and just flick through the book. I often use Rosa's Choice as an oracle, you know, with what I need to, what I need to know, what my clients might need to know, what message Rosa has. And as I said, again, you know, if you're in conception, or just, you know, just if you're interested in why you came to this planet, why are you here now, what was your process in choosing your parents, where you live, your location, and your experiences. So let me just flick through and see what Rosa wishes to share with us today. Okay, so if anyone has the book, I've flicked to page 173. I'll just see what draws me in. Okay, so she's gone for the big one straight off, and it's the chapter around termination, what you might know as abortion, and what the babies prefer to see as release. You're releasing them. And I know what really helped me when I had 3 miscarriages, termination, medical termination, and Rosa was, my much loved baby that just wasn't well enough to be in this world. So I had to make that choice of releasing her. And I asked her, because as mums we're in so much pain and guilt and everything around that choice, whether it's a medical termination or a termination of choice, for whatever reason, millions and millions of reasons that we have. And I asked her, did she blame me? Was it my fault? I was asking also how she felt about it. Did she feel that pain? And when she said there is nothing, it's always sad to leave the womb and that physical kind of existence, but there is no greater joy than going home to your whole soul. Rosa, her story is that she was never meant to be in this world. She was here to come and give me a massive kick up the bum and get me on my path and doing what I do now, which is supporting women as a spirit babe communicator, healer, soul plan reader, to figure out who am I in this world, what am I here for, what's going on, what's the bigger picture. Okay, so let's just read a bit from this bit on termination. This has obviously been in the news an awful lot. With what's going on in America in particular, but also so many countries where women's choices are really, really being hammered. And ultimately what Rosa says about termination is there's no such thing as termination. Energy can't be terminated. It can only change form. And the babies aren't victims in that. That's the most important thing. We feel guilt, we feel like, but when you're holding someone in guilt, you're holding them as a victim. And the babies are saying they're very far from victims. They have a choice in this. There's so many reasons that they choose to come, knowing that they are not meant to be here, knowing that they're going to be released. So let me read this passage on termination, and hoping with it, the intent is to support anyone who has have had to go through that experience for whatever reason, to have that perspective from your babies. So with love and support. And for anyone who feels, there's so many patterns. What Rosa says about this is a terminating of beliefs. It's a termination of who we thought we were, a termination of that we don't have choice. So ultimately this is around women knowing they have a choice. And of course what's happening and been happening for so many years is that women feeling they don't have choice. But oh, my dog's just jumped on the table. Sorry. Molly, come down. Yes, so it's really about choice. So let me read Rosa's message on that. First of all, on shame. This is a big one. Shame. What is shame? What is this terminology of shame, and why is it present in your human form? For it certainly is not an emotion that I feel here where I am now. But this does not help you understand shame, and so I will do my best to describe it to you and from whence it came. Shame is essentially about shame of the body that once gave and gave and gave in its infinite love for the universe and of all beings present in that universe, and it was with no shame that this love was given, because this love was for the highest and best of all. It was a choice to give and a choice to love and a choice to share all of the goodness of the body and all of the life force energy and all of the beings that could be birthed from it. Yet again, at some point in time, there were many who chose to question this love, this type of love that was all-giving and all-seeing and all-knowing of life. For who were they to not have this love for themselves? Who were they to not have this love and to bottle it up and sell it for all it was worth? Who were they to not have control over this love? So I feel like Rose is talking about the earth and the cosmos, the mother, the cosmic mother who births all. We are all birthed from this. We all hold this mother energy. So they took it for themselves, not knowing they already had it. It was buried so deeply within them that they did not realize it was the way that they took it that was the instigator and catalyst for the shame that so many of you experience now. So shame is most definitely not an emotion, it's a trauma, and it's a wound from this humiliation and my way is the right way, and if you don't do it that way, that's the wrong way. Who has a right to what's right or wrong for you? They haven't walked in your shoes. They haven't, they just haven't lived your life. They haven't got the connection that you have with your spirit babies. So, yeah, who has the right over you and the choices you make? Okay. So when you ask about the shame that is linked to a termination, there really is no such thing, because you are not terminating anything or anyone, as no thing and no one can be terminated, and at the very most by a human form, because this is not within your power to terminate, and neither is it your choice. It is simply a birthing of a being into another realm, a realm that may most likely suit that being better at that time than the realm of Earth. When you say you release me, this is exactly what you did. Release me from my contract to return to Earth, in order that I may continue my studies and my living from another place, a place where you find me now in the other realms, and yes, including in this baby spirit realm. For I do not always dwell there, for I have no notion yet again of returning to your Earth, at least not until there comes a point when the Earth is indeed heaven again. For this is what the Earth was and is, heaven. You simply do not see it that way. It is of your own making that you see it as a hell on earth, because you choose to remain in the past, choose to remain in those moments of trauma, when the world collapsed around you, and you did all indeed feel like you were dying. But die you did not, and neither have any of your babies, or anyone else's babies. We are simply here moving about the universe, birthed into the realms we are meant to be in right now. It's time to get rid of this shame, for it is not a real thing. It has been given to you by others who choose to try and control you and the choices you make. They are not ready, nor do they wish you to be ready to see the very real truth of the matter, that matter, form, body, is matter. You cannot make matter come to an end, and you cannot make matter matter without that matter having a choice in the matter. I know you often get lost in all my words, and this makes me laugh, as I am playing with you sometimes when I do this. I know how seriously you can take life, and I know how complicated you can make life seem, when in reality there are no complications. We simply are. We are simply here, or we are simply not here. When we are not here with you on Earth, we are simply somewhere else, and yet always with you. Do you feel bad from a soul level that you have released your babies? They will always come back to you, if that is their want, and that is your want, and that is part of your plan together. They feel no pain at the moment of release. They only feel birthed into somewhere else for another adventure, until and if it is time for them to rejoin you in this physical place. Yet I know that on a human level this is a choice that is far from simple and far from free of pain. But maybe this is the point of this experience for many of you, that you feel this pain, that you are aware of this pain within your physical form, and yes, also in your soul form. For it is through the experience of this pain and of this shame, and the experience of this loss of your baby, your values, your beliefs, of thou now shalt kill, your loss of self and who you thought, because this is what your so-called termination does. It does not terminate your baby soul, for this is not a law of the universe. It terminates instead many things about yourself. You can choose to live with this termination of your life as you know it, the termination of yourself as you know it, the termination of how you feel about your own dignity, your values, your sense of self-worth, and your own worthiness to be alive in this world. This is what a termination is for. And if you are not ready to experience this termination, this death of your old ways, your old patterns and programs, and who you thought yourself to be, then we do not recommend this experience for you. If you are not ready to go within, so deep within that you often feel you will never come out of it again, never come out of that box of shame that has been programmed into you from almost the beginning of time, when others decided that life was there to control, love was there to control, that only they could make your choice of what was right or what was wrong, and not the individual, and most certainly not the woman. For who was a woman to make a choice of who lives and who dies? Surely it is only the male of the species, the male who himself cannot create life in either your human or universal sense, who must be the one to control and be in control of this process of creation. If it was the woman, then where does this leave the male? What would happen to the male, to the masculine, to the point of them, if they were not able to control the woman? For surely the woman would simply give and give and give. What would happen then if we all just did give and give and give? It is not a concept that can come easily. for there is an energy of take and claim in their being. It is this that has got out of balance, and it is this that must now come full circle and back into balance. For the female to rise, yes, but for the male to be heard and to be understood, and for their fear of being inconsequential, a fear that runs so deep within the veins of the universe that it affects all things and affects all life. Once the male is recognized and honored as a master creator in their own right, once they are recognized as the being that must be visible within the process of creation, that creation is indeed the balance of both the male and the female, then it is that true creation can happen. And it is to this fear that we must now all turn to ease, to coddle the male in order for the world to feel a safe place once more, a safe place to be without fear or shame, for in reality there cannot be such thing. And so we honor you women who have made this choice to destroy life before it had even begun, for you have destroyed nothing and no one but the fear and the shame within yourselves. And so this too is a service of giving and a service of love. We honor you for this. It is with our love and blessing that soon this will no longer be a need to perform, that this will no longer be a deed that needs to be seen or taken, for there will be no thing that needs to be terminated, for all there will be is love. And so it is. Our infinite blessings, Rosa. So, you know, when with Rosa's messages, it's not just talking about termination, it's talking about creation, it's talking about the imbalance in creation, the masculine, the feminine, the control, the crumbling of that control, and how, you know, that the female feminine energy is rising up, and, you know, there's a bit of a kickback from that, because of fear of what that might mean, from the patriarchal kind of energies that like to control and control creation. But creation is a balance, so we're all coming back into balance. So I would love to know how you feel about that message, and if you've been through that experience or facing that experience, please know your babies are very, very much with you. There is no pain on their side. They're birthed into another realm of their choosing and their choice, as well as your choice to live your life. It's yours. It's yours. Okay, so I hope that was okay, and I'll be really intrigued to know how you feel about that. So I'm going to hop off now, and I will be back tomorrow with a shorter message maybe, but Rosa's starting with a big one that's in the news, of course, which is abortion, termination, and women's choices and babies' choices. Okay, all right, take care, lots of love, bye.